Hello, my name is Doug Heaton, and I'm running for Senate District 24 in the Utah State Legislature. I'm making these videos to acquaint you with my political principles so that you can make an informed decision as you decide who to vote for. This little video is going to be about principles of legitimate taxation. I believe that wherever possible, taxes should relate directly to the services which the state provides. For example, the gasoline tax goes directly to the construction and the maintenance of roads and is proportional to the amount of benefit one derives from the service. That there should always be a direct benefit to the taxpayer in exchange for his tax burden. Another excellent example is taxation for law enforcement and military activities. Freedom from predators at home and tyrants abroad are a direct blessing we derive from law enforcement and from military efforts. It's best, however, when there's a direct link between the tax and the service. Taxation for whatever is never a good idea. And in no case should taxes ever be levied for the purpose of redistribution of wealth. Welfare is a private responsibility. I believe that government welfare mostly weakens rather than strengthens needy communities by replacing natural incentives with an entitlement mentality. I don't think that people living in typically entitled communities are any less intelligent than the average. But I do believe that people in general quickly relinquish their responsibilities when they're perpetually offered something free. Wealth distribution programs quickly extinguish incentives, and they keep those recipients perpetually in a state of poverty. Welfare programs have distorted family roles, they've destroyed personal incentives. They've been the cause of family disintegration, and they wreak havoc on every society that has accepted them. It's no accident that even after trillions of dollars that we've spent trying to lift people out of poverty, that most of those people remain even more entrenched than before. Welfare is a violation of the laws of human nature and of the laws of economics. That's not to say that we don't need to take care of the poor. We do have a duty to take care of the poor, but it is not a public duty. It is a private duty. And when the private individual donates to the benefit of someone who is needy, two things happen. The giver gets and is entitled to some fuzzy feelings from having shared voluntarily his means with someone who is needy, and he's edified by his action. The recipient, when it's just a private donation or a private assistance, the recipient doesn't really have time to become entitled because he has no idea whether there's going to be an ongoing contribution to his state. And because it's not something that is constant and it's coming from someone, not just some nameless bureaucracy, it's very easy for the recipient to feel grateful, and the opportunity for entitlement generally does not happen. So you have an edified giver, you have an edified receiver. Whereas when government takes wealth at the point of a gun, you've got a bitter giver, and you quickly get an entitled receiver. Welfare assistance is not a public duty, not even a public right, because whatever a government gives, they first have to take from someone who earned it, and that's a very discouraging thing, to go out and earn money and then have someone take it from you. You're not entitled. There's no direct benefit to the giver. There's nothing that is given him in return for his donation, which wasn't a donation at all. It was taken at the point of a gun. not really the point of a gun, but I mean, when the government does that, it always there's an element of force. It's always the government that brings the gun to the debate. And so not only does the entitlement program destroy the entitled, it also is a serious disincentive to the productive people, as the rightful product of their labor is stripped away without compensation. Why would one continue to strive to earn and to progress and to become, only to see those rewards for diligence stolen and given away to people who are basically indolent? Government welfare eventually embitters and destroys both the source and the recipient. This harkens back also to the principle of delegated authority, which I made in another clip. How does a government find the authority to take someone's property or wealth without just compensation? How, if the people are the source of the authority, how do we delegate to someone powers that we do not have? How do I delegate to the government the authority to go to Bill Gates and say, you've got too much money? If I were to do that individually, that would simply be called theft, especially if it was done by force. So how would I delegate that authority to a government to act in my behalf, to take money from Bill Gates or someone else who is prosperous in order to give it to someone else? The problem with socialism, Margaret Thatcher got it right. The problem with socialism, the problem with the redistribution of wealth, is that you inevitably run out of other people's money. So if the people do not have the authority to do that, how would they delegate that authority to a government to do it? It's just as much robbery by a government as it would be by an individual. My name is Doug Heaton, and I'm running for Senate District 24 in the Utah State Legislature. Thank you for watching.